This damn thing. I just did a video and it was insightful and hilarious and awesome. Pulitzer Prize material, really. And then I found out that when I hit stop, that my camera hadn't recognized the card that's in it. Now it seems to have recognized the card. So we'll try again. This is Wednesday night, the Wednesday night before Derby City starts. So Derby Eve. And good timing on this. I haven't been playing particularly well the last couple of days. I haven't been banking well. On one pocket's been just fine, but I haven't been banking pretty well. And it got me thinking about a topic that I touched on, I want to say like last year, about accuracy. The three kinds of accuracy that I talked about were: where do I hit this cue ball? What direction do I hit this cue ball in? And how fast do I hit the cue ball? Those are the three things I talked about. And I kind of hinted a little bit about like a judgment thing that's kind of overriding all that. Because obviously, if I would have banked this 11 and cross side, I could be the most accurate person in the world at doing it. But if I'm not lined up right, I don't think I'm going to bank the 11 cross side. Let's find out. No, I didn't. I might have been the most accurate person in the world, speed and cue ball and where I hit the cue ball and all, but my judgment was clearly off on that shot. You have to have them both. In the last couple of days playing bank pool, I haven't had them both. I feel like I've been very accurate. Except my one pocket, it had been just fine. But my banks, my judgment on what's going to happen when this ball hits the rail, yeah, they were off. And there could be several reasons for that. But one of the things that I have had to do to, fix it, at least temporarily, or to help, at least temporarily, I've had to raise my head off the cue a little bit. When I raise my head off the cue a little bit, and I'm not talking about much. I'm talking like my normal way I was shooting was down here, maybe an inch off the cue. I'm talking about raising up to wherever that is, 4 or 5 inches, so I can see the angles a little bit better. Because me walking up to the shot and hoping that my inner pool player can see this angle, and I would try to see the angle all the way down as well, it wasn't good enough. Clearly, because I felt like I was hitting everything really accurately, yet the balls weren't going in. And a lot of them weren't even coming close. So I've raised my head up just a little bit. So even right now, I can still see the angle. Down here, I couldn't. But I can still see the angle. So I'm letting my inner pool player continue to have a longer time to be able to see that angle and put in his little 2 cents worth on the direction and the speed and where you hit the cue ball and all that stuff. It's helped. It's not a cure-all. And the reason it's not a cure-all for me is when I'm up, even just a little bit off the cue, I don't have the confidence that I'm being physically accurate anymore. I'm not used to being up a little bit higher and hitting the cue ball exactly where I want it. I may be off of the shot line just a little bit, a millimeter or whatever, and maybe I could tell I was off by a millimeter if I was down here, but if I'm up, maybe I can't tell anymore. It still looks good. And then also the speed can be messed up because down here I'm a little bit more compressed and congested in here. Raise up a little bit, I'm not anymore. It's going to affect a lot of things. This is why it's not a cure-all for me. It's just something that I felt like was necessary. I didn't put my belt on. Something I felt was necessary so I could freaking start making a bank every now and then again. That's what I'm having to do right now, is make sure that I'm seeing this angle all the way through the entire shot. And it did help a lot. I mean, I think I banked 9 in a row as soon as I started doing that. I haven't done it since, but banked 9 in a row since. This was all just like an hour ago. And like I said, I had this wonderful, awesome video that I yammered, and then the stupid camera decided, you don't have a card in me, Dave. But I did have, technology sucks. This is all the same as it's always been for me. Always is a very moving target for me because I change stuff a lot. It's the way it's been, for the last several weeks at least, is getting on the shot. But whereas I would then come down even further, I'm not allowing myself to do that anymore. I'm making myself stay upright enough to where I can still see that angle. And, I'm just talking about bank shots here. But that's, my favorite game. I don't know if it's my best game, but it's my favorite game. And it's the first one that they're going to play at Derby. So, this is just what we're doing. Also a chance that something was going on physically with me where I wasn't bending down correctly, and when by doing that I was constricting myself too much, maybe introducing some type of a swirl into my stroke. But I don't think so, just because of the way that I was missing. I wasn't missing always to the right or always to the left, for example. It was pretty much even mix. I was just missing. A shot like this would come short. Bank the 15 back 3, coming short. That's a tough shot, but I ought to be able to rattle it, and I ought to be able to not have the ball hit here a bunch. Bank back the other way. Like I said, I'm missing to the left and to the right, kind of equal amounts. So I don't think it was a speed thing. I don't think it was my head's out of kilter thing, whatever. I think it's just minor pool player is used. Minor pool player is still used to my southwest, but more minor pool player is used to that triangle chop. Not yet used to this. If I had to put English on a shot, minor pool player thinks he knows what that's going to do, what a little bit of right English is going to put on a shot. The thing is, he's wrong, because he's living in the past, thinking about, well, hell, for the last 5 or 6 years, if I put this much right English on it, this is what would happen. But I switched chalk. I should not have switched chalk with less than 3 months to go before Derby City. I should not have done it, but I did, and I do still love that chalk, and I do still love the fact that my cue ball is still spotless after all this time. My table's pretty darn clean, although I think I vacuumed it 2 nights ago. Didn't need to, but I did. But I shouldn't have switched. And there's been a few times this past week where I've picked up the triangle to start shooting with it again, and I've shot better. But I've also gotten spots all over my cue ball, which have annoyed me, so I've put it back. I still have the triangle in my case for my break cue, but that's just what's going on with me now, is because I know I'm up off the cue a little bit more. I have to be more certain that everything is accurate. And if need be, I need to override my inner pool player's thoughts about what English is going to do. This shot, I'm not going to put any English on the shot. But if I were going to, I'll do that next. But for here, because I'm up a little bit higher, I'm not as confident about where I'm hitting the cue ball and what direction I'm hitting the cue ball in, at what speed. I'm not as confident. So I just have to try to be extra careful and make sure I'm doing everything as correctly as I can, even though I'm raised up. So if I have a shot like this, I'm going to put right English on this 13 and bank it back here. Again, not an easy shot, but it's in the realm of possibility for me. I bet, maybe like 60%, maybe 70% make on this shot with the triangle chalk. With this chalk, I'm not. Usually what happens is that 13 comes back and hits about right here. The right English, which I don't get as much English with this chalk as I did with the triangle. Therefore, I don't get as much transfer to the 13 with this chalk as I did with the triangle. So my inner pool player's thoughts about how much right English is needed or how much of a cut is needed, they're wrong because they're based on old information. The new information is that's the town V10 and it behaves differently. So that's try, easier said than done an awful lot of times, to make a conscious effort to either put more English on the shot or cut it to my left a little bit more than I had been doing. Now, I don't like putting more English on the shot because then you get more squirt. And this cue already does squirt differently than the Southwest. It squirts a little bit more than the Southwest. So, instead of putting more right than what my inner pool player says, oh, put this much right on it, and I have to override him, go, no, we're going to put a little bit more. Instead of doing that, I'm looking to cut it a little bit. Even though my inner pool player is screaming, you're going to miss the shot, you're going to miss the shot. At this point, my best odds of making the shot are to cut it a little bit more, and my inner pool player probably thinks I'm going to, bank the ball towards this chalk. It's going to be that far off. But it's not going to be that far off. As long as I get all the accuracy and everything else correct, and make that, I have to make it a little conscious adjustment to cut it a little bit more. So I'm still using the exact same English that I was using before with the triangle. Exact same English. But I'm just cutting it a little bit more. And after all that yammering, we'll see what happens. Yeah, close. So it came a little bit short. That's what's been happening. So it came a little bit short. Yeah. Just, working on it. It's fun to work on stuff, especially when I successfully work on stuff. Now I'm constantly trying to override my inner pool player to see how successful I was that time about what he thinks has to be done to hit that 13. And boy, he's stubborn as hell, man. That was too much. Eventually, I'll make the shot, and that won't mean that now I've mastered the shot, or mastered shooting the shot with the town chalk. It just means I've made the shot. And do it enough times, my inner pool player can get recalibrated and think, oh, okay, to make this shot, you do have to cut it over here, which is more than I used to have to cut it, but now I have to cut it a little bit more, and that's fine. Me just telling him, it's a little bit mentally taxing. I need him to figure out. Ever notice how I always set up these really hard examples when I'm trying to make a video? It's like the shots aren't hard enough. Let's talk to the damn camera while we're trying to make the shot, Dave. Yeah, sometimes I'm an idiot. I thought that was going to hang. Yeah, so that's what I'm up to here is pretty darn late in the the calendar to be trying to adjust to that chalk, but it needs to happen. A lot of the problems I've had the last few days, they didn't come up. They weren't there. I was like, well, yeah, I'm really used to this cue now. I'm really used to the chalk I've been playing a lot more one pocket though. Now I'm playing a lot more banks, and I'm noticing things, yeah, things that just aren't right. A little bit of outside English isn't doing what I, internally, subconsciously think it's going to do. Same thing with inside English. And that's my inner pool player living in the past. That one, I didn't put any spin at all on that ball, and I didn't want to. I absolutely misjudged that. That's the thing I started yammering about at the beginning of this whole deal. Is I can be the most accurate guy in the world, but if my judgment is wrong, probably not going to make the shot. And that has nothing to do with chalk or cues or tips or anything. My judgment was almost a diamond off on that bank. I felt like I hit it accurately. I felt like I hit it at the speed I wanted. But that was a diamond off. Yeah, don't do that, Dave. Try to be a little bit better. Try to make sure I'm seeing this angle. Does it look right? Does it look like I'm hitting it correctly? And when I do, sometimes the ball goes in. So I'm going to hit stop on my ghillie-doo and see if it actually recorded this time. It says it's recording. We will find out though. Bye guys.